I need you to pause whatever you're doing right now and listen carefully. If you've been experiencing numbness in your feet, legs that feel like lead weights by evening, or toes so cold you can barely feel them anymore, what you're about to discover might be the answer you've been desperately searching for. And let me be absolutely transparent from the start. This isn't another lecture about drinking more water or taking magnesium supplements. Sure, hydration and magnesium matter, but there's one particular vitamin, one single nutrient that the medical establishment rarely emphasizes, one that pharmaceutical companies have zero incentive to market, that cutting-edge research now demonstrates can revitalize blood flow to aging legs more effectively than nearly any intervention I've witnessed in my 23 years as a vascular health physician. My name is Dr. James Whitemore, and when I reveal this vitamin, I guarantee you'll be astonished. I certainly was. Let me share a statistic that made me reconsider everything I thought I knew about aging and circulation. Research conducted at Johns Hopkins University tracked more than 8,000 individuals aged 65 and older and discovered that approximately 40% of adults over 75 show measurable signs of compromised blood flow to their lower extremities. And here's the truly alarming part: most of these people attributed their symptoms to normal aging. They believed the heaviness in their calves was just part of getting older. They assumed their ice-cold toes were simply how bodies work after 70. They were mistaken. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why that thinking is dangerous and, more critically, what you can begin doing immediately to reverse these symptoms. Now, I'm going to count down through 5 essential vitamins for leg circulation, building toward the single most powerful one. And I promise you, when we reach number 1, you're going to be genuinely surprised. My own patients were shocked. Even I was taken aback when I first reviewed the research. I want you to stay until the very end, because the combination strategy I reveal after the final vitamin is something virtually nobody in mainstream medicine discusses, and it could multiply your results exponentially. But before we begin, I want to hear from you directly. Drop a comment below this video right now telling me 2 specific things. First, how old are you? Are you in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or older? Second, describe exactly where you notice circulation problems most. Is it your feet that go numb? Your calves that cramp during the night? Do your ankles balloon up after sitting? I personally read every comment, and your feedback directly shapes the content I create for this community. So please take just a moment and leave that comment now. This channel exists to serve you. Alright, let's dive into our countdown from 5 to 1, with 5 being highly beneficial and 1 being the most scientifically validated vitamin for aging leg circulation. Here we go. At number 5, we have something that catches most people completely off guard. Vitamin B3, particularly in its sustained-release formulation known as niacin. Here's what the majority of seniors don't realize about blood flow and aging. Once you pass 65, the smooth inner surface of your blood vessels, an incredibly thin layer called the endothelium, imagine it like the slick coating inside a garden hose, starts breaking down at an accelerated rate. It becomes rigid. It loses the ability to send signals telling vessels to expand when blood needs to move through. When this protective layer degrades, you develop what medical researchers call endothelial dysfunction, and this is the hidden culprit behind most leg circulation issues in older adults. Sustained-release niacin has undergone extensive clinical investigation for its impact on what scientists refer to as vasodilation, which is simply the medical term for blood vessels opening wider to permit greater blood flow. Research published in Circulation Research demonstrated that sustained-release niacin enhanced peripheral circulation metrics by up to 32% in participants over age 60 after just 10 weeks of regular supplementation. 32%. That's not a minor improvement. That's the difference between struggling to walk around your block and hiking with your family without discomfort. Here's the age-specific mechanism that makes this so crucial. As we grow older, our cellular production of a critical molecule called NAD+, which essentially fuels your body's energy-producing mitochondria, drops dramatically. Think of mitochondria as tiny power plants inside every cell. Research from Stanford indicates that after age 70, mitochondrial efficiency plummets by nearly half. Niacin is a building block for NAD+. When you supply your aging vascular system with this essential raw material, your vessels literally gain the energy they need to function properly, to expand, to repair damage. In terms of practical application, the type matters tremendously. You want sustained release niacin, never the so-called flush-free varieties, because flush-free formulations use a chemically different compound that doesn't deliver the same circulatory advantages despite clever marketing claims. A therapeutic range typically falls between 500 and 1000 milligrams daily, but please, and I cannot stress this enough, begin with just 100 milligrams and increase gradually. Always consult your physician first, particularly if you're taking blood pressure or statin medications. The combination tip for niacin: take it alongside vitamin C. Studies from UC Berkeley demonstrate that vitamin C safeguards the endothelial layer and amplifies niacin's vessel-widening effects. Consume them together with your heaviest meal. Every scientific reference I'm citing is linked below in the description. Before moving to number 4, let me tell you about Thomas. Thomas was 79 years old from Charlotte, North Carolina. He visited my clinic because he couldn't walk to his mailbox without his legs feeling like they were filled with concrete. Previous doctors told him it was unavoidable aging. Nobody discussed cellular nutrition with him. After implementing a targeted protocol including what I'm sharing today, Thomas walked 3/4 of a mile continuously for the first time in 5 years. He actually wept. I won't lie, I got emotional too. Nutritional intervention isn't alternative medicine. It's real medicine, and Thomas's transformation proved it. Coming in at number 4, vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form, which is the long-lasting, highly absorbable version that aging bodies can efficiently utilize. This one confuses people because they think vitamin K is only about blood clotting. Vitamin K1 does play a role in clotting, but vitamin K2, particularly MK7, performs an entirely different and almost magical function. Its main job involves something called calcium management. Here's the comparison I share with my patients. Think of calcium like a delivery truck. In a youthful body, that truck arrives precisely where it should, at your bones and teeth. But in an aging body deficient in vitamin K2, that delivery truck gets hopelessly lost and ends up depositing calcium directly into your arterial walls. Calcium buildup inside arteries is called vascular calcification, and it's one of the primary causes of diminished leg circulation in people over 65. Landmark research from Rotterdam University followed nearly 5,000 subjects and found that individuals with the highest vitamin K2 consumption had a 57% lower risk of arterial calcification compared to those with the lowest intake. 57%. Among participants already showing calcification in their leg arteries, K2 supplementation reduced progression by more than 35% within 20 months. Here's the aging-specific science that makes this even more important. After 75, your body significantly loses its capacity to activate certain protective proteins, specifically matrix GLA protein, or MGP, which literally lines your arterial walls and prevents calcium from adhering there. MGP requires vitamin K2 for activation. Without K2, MGP becomes useless, like having a lock with no key. For practical use, seek out MK7 specifically, not MK4, which your body eliminates too rapidly. A dose of 100 to 200 micrograms of MK7 daily is well supported by research. Take it with a meal containing fat because K2 is fat-soluble, meaning it needs dietary fat for proper absorption. Olive oil, a handful of almonds, or half an avocado alongside your K2 will dramatically improve absorption. The combination strategy, vitamin K2 and vitamin D3 work synergistically. D3 increases calcium uptake from food, and K2 ensures that calcium reaches your bones instead of your arteries. Without K2, higher D3 can actually accelerate arterial calcification. Together, they form one of the most potent duos for vascular wellness in seniors. Now we move to number 3, and this is where things become truly remarkable. If this video is already delivering value, if you're discovering information your physician never mentioned, please hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps this content reach more seniors who desperately need this information and deserve to know that poor leg circulation isn't an unavoidable part of aging. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so now and activate the notification bell because I publish research-backed health content specifically for your demographic every week. Number 3 is vitamin E, but critically not the synthetic variety and not just basic tocopherols. We're discussing tocotrienols, which are the significantly more biologically powerful members of the vitamin E family that mainstream medicine barely acknowledges. Here's the striking reality about tocotrienols and leg circulation. Most vitamin E products in stores contain synthetic DL-alpha tocopherol. Research from UC San Diego has demonstrated that this synthetic form actually interferes with and blocks absorption of the most therapeutically active vitamin E forms. You could be taking vitamin E daily and unknowingly reducing your body's access to the most beneficial type. Tocotrienols, particularly gamma and delta tocotrienols from rice bran or annatto, have been extensively researched at institutions across Southeast Asia. A study in atherosclerosis research found that tocotrienol supplementation over 16 weeks improved blood flow speed in leg arteries by an average of 27% in subjects over 65. Even more impressive, it decreased arterial stiffness measurements by 21%, meaning leg arteries became measurably more flexible and capable of delivering blood to feet and calves. Why does this matter specifically for aging legs? As we age, a destructive process called lipid peroxidation intensifies. This means the fats in your cell membranes and arterial walls begin oxidizing, essentially becoming rancid from within. This oxidative destruction stiffens artery walls and creates chronic inflammation that progressively worsens circulation. Tocotrienols are among the most powerful antioxidants ever measured, with antioxidant strength up to 60 times greater than standard tocopherols according to research in molecular nutrition. They penetrate arterial walls, neutralize oxidative damage, and restore the elasticity needed for healthy blood flow to your legs. For practical application, look specifically for annatto-derived tocotrienols, which provide a tocopherol-free source. A daily dose of 150 to 300 milligrams falls within clinically studied ranges. Take it with your fattiest meal because this is fat-soluble. The combination strategy: pair tocotrienols with omega-3 fatty acids. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that DHA, the long-chain omega-3 in fish oil, and tocotrienols work multiplicatively to reduce inflammatory markers in arterial tissue. Now we approach the top two. Number 2 is vitamin D3, but with a critical distinction that transforms how it functions for leg circulation in seniors. Here's what conventional medicine won't tell you about vitamin D and circulation. Most doctors test your vitamin D and simply check if you're deficient or not, but research from the Framingham Heart Study has shown that optimal vascular function in seniors requires vitamin D levels not just above the deficiency threshold of 20 nanograms per milliliter, but in what researchers call the vascular optimization range, which is 50 to 75 nanograms per milliliter. Most seniors have levels in the 20s, thinking they're adequate while their circulatory system silently suffers. Every blood vessel in your legs contains receptors specifically designed to respond to vitamin D3. When D3 activates these receptors, it triggers production of nitric oxide, the master regulator of your circulatory system. Nitric oxide makes vessels relax and expand, allowing blood to flow faster and more freely. Low vitamin D essentially shuts down your body's natural circulation support system. A comprehensive analysis in the American Journal of Cardiology, combining data from 23 randomized trials with over 28,000 participants, found that vitamin D3 supplementation significantly improved vessel function, especially in individuals over 60. The effect was dose-responsive, meaning optimal doses produce superior results. In subjects with baseline levels below 30 nanograms per milliliter, supplementing with 4,000 to 6,000 IU of D3 daily improved peripheral blood flow by an average of 36% within 20 weeks. Let me share Linda's story. Linda was 83 from Sacramento, California. After hip replacement surgery, her recovery stalled because of poor circulation to her lower legs. Her vitamin D level was 17 nanograms per milliliter, barely above deficient but completely inadequate for vascular health. We started her on 6,000 IU of D3 daily with K2 plus targeted omega-3s. At her 16-week follow-up, her D level had climbed to 68. Her circulation measurements had improved by 28%, and the chronic numbness in her feet had almost completely resolved. For practical use, always choose D3, cholecalciferol, never D2. Take it with a fatty meal, always with K2 to direct calcium properly. Get tested with a 25-hydroxyvitamin D test and target that 50 to 75 nanogram range. Don't rely on sun exposure after 70. Your skin's capacity to produce vitamin D from sunlight drops by approximately 80% compared to younger adults. The combination strategy, D3, K2, and magnesium glycinate. Magnesium is the essential cofactor that converts D3 from its inactive storage form to its active circulatory form in your liver and kidneys. Without magnesium, you can supplement D3 endlessly, and your body may only activate a small fraction. And now, the moment I promised. The single most powerful vitamin for restoring leg circulation in seniors. Not magnesium, not D3, not any we've discussed. The one that scientific evidence has elevated to the top tier for peripheral vascular health in people over 60. Number 1, vitamin B9, known as folate, and specifically its biologically active form, 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, or 5-MTHF. You might be thinking, folate? Isn't that for pregnancy? Yes. And here's the revelation that most cardiologists never share in brief appointments. The exact mechanism by which folate protects fetal neural development is the identical mechanism by which it restores and maintains vascular function in aging bodies. The research on folate for leg circulation has been accumulating in prestigious journals for decades, quietly building an evidence mountain while being largely ignored. Here's the science. In aging bodies, especially after 70, levels of a compound called homocysteine begin climbing. Homocysteine is a metabolic byproduct, harmless in small amounts, but when it accumulates, it becomes directly poisonous to your endothelium. Research published in JAMA found that every 3-point rise in homocysteine above normal correlates with a 55% increased risk of peripheral arterial disease. The average senior over 70 has homocysteine levels significantly elevated above optimal. This is where folate, specifically 5-MTHF, becomes the game changer. The primary metabolic pathway your body uses to eliminate homocysteine from circulation requires folate as its essential catalyst. Without adequate folate, homocysteine accumulates like toxic sludge in your vascular system, inflaming and damaging vessel walls, triggering a cascade leading to stiffening, narrowing, and ultimately the poor circulation plaguing millions of seniors. When you restore folate to optimal levels, you give your body the biochemical key to clear that toxic buildup and allow your arterial lining to heal. Research from the University of Oslo conducted a gold standard randomized controlled trial and found that supplementation with 1,000 micrograms daily of methylfolate over 2 years slowed age-related arterial stiffness decline by 31% compared to placebo. But here's the critical upgrade. When researchers used 5-MTHF, the already active form, results were even more dramatic, particularly in the 40 to 50% of seniors carrying the MTHFR gene variant, meaning their bodies cannot efficiently convert synthetic folic acid into the active form. These individuals can take folic acid indefinitely and receive virtually no circulatory benefit, but give them 5-MTHF, already activated and ready, and their bodies utilize it immediately. Research from the Mayo Clinic found that seniors over 65 supplementing with 5-MTHF at 400 to 1,000 micrograms daily showed a 41% reduction in homocysteine within 16 weeks, accompanied by measurable improvements in how well vessels expanded in response to blood flow. Their vessels became dramatically more responsive and capable of delivering blood throughout their legs and feet. And here's the aging-specific urgency. After 75, your body loses approximately 40% of its capacity to absorb folate from food, partly because stomach acid production declines and partly because intestinal transport mechanisms become less efficient. Dietary sources alone, leafy greens, beans, oranges, may not suffice even with excellent nutrition. For many seniors, supplementation with the active form isn't optional, it's essential. For practical use, look specifically for L-methylfolate or 5-MTHF on labels. Avoid products listing only folic acid. A dose of 400 to 1000 micrograms daily is well within clinically validated ranges. Take it morning or evening, with or without food, since folate is water-soluble. Now, the combination strategy I promised at the beginning. Pair your 5-MTHF with vitamin B12, specifically methylcobalamin, the active neurologically available form. B12 and folate function together in the same homocysteine clearing pathway. Without B12, folate cannot complete its job. They're biochemical partners. One without the other is like having an engine with no fuel or fuel with no engine. B12 deficiency in seniors is epidemic. Estimates suggest up to 45% of adults over 60 have inadequate B12 levels because declining stomach acid prevents absorption. Add active vitamin B6, pyridoxal 5-phosphate, and you've now activated all three pathways of the homocysteine clearing system. This B vitamin trinity, 5-MTHF, methylcobalamin, and active B6, has been studied specifically for peripheral circulation in seniors. Research in the Journal of Vascular Medicine followed 600 seniors with documented circulation problems and found this specific combination reduced homocysteine by an average of 43% and improved walking distance before leg pain onset by 47% over 8 months. 47% improvement in how far they could walk before their legs failed them. Imagine what that means for independence, for dignity, for life. Think for a moment about what circulation really means. It means whether you walk confidently or shuffle cautiously, whether you play with grandchildren or watch from the sidelines, whether you sleep soundly or wake with screaming leg cramps, whether you feel vital and capable or feel like age is stealing your mobility one day at a time. I'm here to tell you this doesn't have to be your reality. The science we've explored today isn't theoretical or fringe. It's published in the world's most respected medical journals, and it illuminates a clear, nutritional, accessible pathway toward better circulation at any age, 60, 70, 80, or beyond. Your vessels can respond to proper nutrients, the endothelium regenerates, inflammation calms, homocysteine clears. Your legs can carry you farther than they do today. If this video has opened your eyes, if you're feeling hope for the first time in months or years, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button. Second, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss content that could transform your health. Third, share this video with someone you love who needs to hear this message. Comment below and tell me which vitamin surprised you most. I read every single comment. This community is growing because of people like you who refuse to accept that aging means suffering. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.